Let's go across to Sourav Ganguly, former India captain and headlines today's expert, to deconstruct the loss today. Dada, it must have been quite disappointing to see India lose from the position that they were. But the question after this loss, the 10th in the last 11 overseas matches, is how long can MS Dhoni continue as captain in Tests? Do you think that even as he heads for a 4th series loss out of 5 abroad, he needs to give up his position, at least as a statement?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. He needs to give up his position. Neither do I think there is pressure on Mahendra Singh Dhoni to retain his captaincy. Yes, it's a young team. He's the senior most player. We've lost 10 games out of the 11 test matches we've played overseas since 2011, and this is not a very good record from anyone, especially someone like Dhoni, who's been captain for such a long time and who's got such remarkable success in one-day matches for India. But I don't think it's the time for him to give up his captaincy, because it's a young team. The World Cup is a year away. I know you're talking about test matches, but I think a team is better off when they have a same captain in all formats of the game, because Dhoni will be the one-day captain. If he gives up his test match captaincy, you never know, he could be fighting for his test match spot especially in overseas conditions. So I don't think it's the time for Dhoni to give up his captaincy. He needs to work on his batting. The most important thing, Shivani, he needs to contribute a lot more with the bat when he goes overseas. He does that in one-day cricket, he does that in test cricket in India, but moment when he goes overseas, I know it's not the easiest time to bat. Most of the time he's come and batted in the second new ball, at the time of the second new ball. So either he's got to fix his position right, because he has to contribute a lot more with the bat with this young batting lineup.
But you mentioned the young batting lineup. Of course, this was the case even with the VVS Lakshmans and Rahul Dravids in 2011, when we faced those 8 consecutive losses. India again plays in England and Australia, Dada. Do you have any hope for this team coming up this year?
Yeah, I hope. Of course, I have got hopes, but they'll have to do a lot of things differently. They'll have to prepare a lot better for the overseas tours. These are young players. It's not that it's a Tendulkar, Dravid or a Lakshman who's been in this or those countries 3 or 4 times in their career. For most of these players, it's going to be a first tour. For Virat Kohli, it's going to be a first overseas tour to England. For Shikhar Dhawan or Ajinkya Rahane or Cheteshwar Pujara, they will all be going to England for the first time. So they will have to prepare well. They have to get to England a lot ahead of the start of the first test and play warm-up games. Play 3 or 4 warm-up games. You look at India's performance in South Africa. Before they could realize the first 3 one-days were over, they landed 2 days before, and their performance started improving with the test matches. They played better at the Wanderers because they got used to the conditions. There's no rocket science to it. It's just simple common sense. You see in New Zealand, but they went there a week ago. They didn't play any warm-up match. By the time they got used to the conditions, the one-day series was over. And the moment you see the test matches start, the second half of the series, their performance has got better. They played good cricket yesterday. They played good cricket today. Although they must have finished on the losing side. But I think the quality of cricket was good, because chasing 410 in these conditions only in the 4th innings is never easy. And I thought India did well to get to 366, although they lost the test match. But I thought they played very well yesterday when they bowled superbly, and today when I thought they batted well as well.
Alright, so the only hope really is that in the next test match we see a continued improved performance, but this is turning out to be one of the worst phases for India in test matches abroad. Sourav Ganguly, who was the man who made us the Lions abroad as well from lambs, you must be quite disappointed to see that perhaps we're becoming lambs again abroad. Sourav, thanks a lot for joining us. He'll keep joining us through the rest of the series as well. As we bid goodbye to Dada.